Vice President Harris's presidential campaign has reported $200 million in contributions since President Biden announced he was stepping down from the top of the ticket, with the campaign claiming that two-thirds of donations came from first-time contributors this cycle. With base turnout sure to be a key factor in November, can the Harris campaign keep up this momentum through the fall? Montgomery, Alabama Mayor Stephen L. Reed, who is also a Harris 2024 surrogate, is here with us. Mr. Mayor, good to see you here. Maybe you could help us understand some of the enthusiasm around Vice President Harris's campaign.
I think there's a lot of enthusiasm around her campaign because of the ideas she has for the future, certainly to strengthen this democracy, to make sure reproductive freedoms are protected as well, and also to make sure that Americans have an economic opportunity that gets them ahead. And she's very sensitive to that. She understands what we're dealing with on the local level as mayors. She understands that because of her proximity and being a local elected official. So she is very sensitive to what the average American is going through. And I think that's been a hallmark of the Biden administration, is having an ear to the ground and making sure that not only the policies, but some of the steps that they can take assist Americans economically and financially.
There's this idea that she has been in this quote-unquote honeymoon phase post-announcement that's led to a huge surge in excitement. What do you think she needs to do to maintain that energy and really put it into the polls come November?
Well, the great thing about this is we know who former President Trump is. Most Americans don't know who Vice President Harris is. So while there's a honeymoon period here, I believe it has the factor to sustain itself because as more Americans learn her personal story, learn why she went into public service in the first place and what she has done, I believe more Americans will be excited about her candidacy to be president. And, you know, in order to maintain that, we're talking about 99 days. She has the only campaign that has offices across several states, that has a volunteer list the size, almost 200,000 now volunteers, getting up to that level. Those are people who want to knock doors and talk to their neighbors, talk to their coworkers about what's at stake in this election and what it means, again, for their pocketbooks, what it means for their savings accounts, their college savings accounts, what it means for their retirement plans. These are things that the vice president and her team clearly understand, and I believe that will help sustain the energy that we're seeing right now because of her vision, again, for the future and what it means for everyday Americans.
We talk to a lot of CEOs of very large public companies here at Yahoo Finance and also very large investors, and they tell us they do not know what the vice president stands for in terms of the economy. How is she going to bring down inflation? How friendly will she be on the regulatory front? Based on your knowledge of her economic plans, what does she stand for?
I think she has some things that are similar to President Biden, but I think she also has some priorities of her own. And as her campaign team has dealt with what's happened in last week, I think they're still rolling that out. So I don't want to get ahead of the team in that regard. But I do know that she has a vision for everyday Americans. I know that she has a vision to make sure that there's economic opportunity, not just to stay above water, but again, to get ahead economically. And they are very sensitive to what's happening with the cost of wages. They're very sensitive to home ownership costs, the mortgage loans, where the price of housing is going in this country and what that really means, but also what it means just for bread and butter issues like the price of groceries and gas. So those things are very similar to, again, I think the sensitivity of President Biden. And I think Vice President Harris has some of her ideas that she's going to be rolling out here in the near future. And I think the American people are going to be very satisfied with that.